So we are back on time. A very good evening to everyone. Hope you and your dear ones are safe and happy. Well, this seems more awkward than I really thought. I'm talking to myself. But on the brighter side, I don't really have to worry about your expressions, at least during the talk, which actually help my today's topic of free thinking. My name is Nikhil Aboti. I'm a PR professional and a founder of Kinesis Communications, a niche public relations consultancy firm based out of Ahmedabad. At the outset, let me thank Team Visamo and especially Sudeshna ji for having me on this platform. While I know most of you would be aware about Visamo, but for the benefit of my few of my friends, Visamo is this beautiful initiative that works towards providing education and shelter to underprivileged kids. They select kids from across Gujarat every year and provide them shelter and education in best of the schools of Ahmedabad. Let me share with you that my experience at Visamo has always been full of positivity. The one reason I found very charming about the kids at Visamo is the amazing mix of discipline and energy. These two things are normally poles apart. Either students are disciplined or they are full of energy. But to have students with such positive attitude is very amusing. Hence, kudos to the team Wisam. Moving on to today's topic of free thinking. Friends, we all know that biologically we all are animals. In fact, 90 to 96% of our DNA matches with that of other animals, including cats and chimpanzees. Still, we know that humans, or to say we Homo sapiens, collectively have achieved beyond the process of natural evolution. And certainly, there are many factors that have played its part towards the progress, but the most of these, critical four of these, according to me, are ability to imagine, second, ability to communicate, third, ability to record, and fourth, ability to execute. And of these four, the first and foremost is the ability to imagine, or to say think. So, at the crux, if one thing that defines mankind is its ability to think. So, you may counter me by saying, what's the big deal? We all think, right? Yes, we do. The fact is, we do think a lot. Our brains constantly think of past events, future anticipations, decisions to make, and often it wanders in wilderness. Even while we are asleep, the reel of our passive thoughts keep playing in our minds. We call them dreams. Sometimes sometimes our brain thinks so much so that we have to, few have to resort to meditation, which is focus on thought, or even beyond Zen, trying to achieve the moment of thoughtlessness, shunya. Now, friends, we are 7 billion minds on this planet with an ability to think. But do we? Because to think is to question, and to question is to rebel. And the society, the government, the rulers are afraid of questions because they want every one of us to follow. We are lucky to be born in a democracy wherein we have freedom of expression for granted. And yet we deprive ourselves for free thinking. You might feel, what am I talking about? We all think. Yes, we do, but in the boundaries of prejudices. Even all our smallest material choices are often influenced by prejudices. For a smallest example, few months back I was talking to my 8-year-old son about buying a cycle. On the choice of color of this cycle, out of the options, the moment pink color popped up, his immediate reaction was, yeah, that's pink. That's for girls. Now, pink is a color. One may like it or may not like it. It should be their individual choice. But the boy didn't like it because his friends have attributed the color to girls. Similarly, For majority of our purchases and decisions, it's not about what we want, but passively in our mind we choose what we think society would like us to choose. To think freely is to be free of all biases that we have gathered, to question everything. One more example from we not encouraging our kids to question. The example from of kids are important to understand. We gather dust of prejudices day by day as we grow. So it's better to observe kids. At least there will be few less layer of prejudices to shed. At schools, we introduce our kids to the theory of evolution somewhere in class 6th or 7th. By then, they do understand the religion they are born into. And they have read or listened about the theory of creation respective to their religion. Now, how many of students either questions teachers or parents on what's going on? I assume not many. I'm not questioning anyone's faith or religion here. How can I? I'm talking about free thinking. Everybody is free to think what they want. But are kids being okay with such extreme paradox without any question is a problem. It paralyzes the entire concept of logical thinking for the mankind. Edward Bernays, the author of Propaganda, father of modern PR, once said that even when we are sitting in closed room with curtains down, our thoughts are still not free of social prejudice. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, and our ideas suggested, largely by the people we have never heard of. Many a times while sitting in an office deciding what share to buy, what companies or stock to buy, you imagine no doubt that you are planning your purchase according to your own judgment. In actual fact, your judgment are melange of impressions stamped on your mind by outside influences, which unconsciously control your thoughts. You buy a certain company's stock because it was in headlines today, because you have a pleasant recollection or a good experience of its products or service, because it has a reputation of being honest, because you have been told that the Facebook owns some of its share. What I want to say is like Mark Twain once said, there are no original thoughts. Academically speaking, there are three broad streams of education, which are science, arts, and commerce. These also defines three broad concepts of thought process and their impact on the world. Science always seeks answer for why and how of things, whereas art is about why not, what if, and at an extreme to live in present like no one else. And these are the two streams that makes most critical changes that disrupt society by questioning everything, every rule which has been taken for granted. And the third, commerce, majorly works around maintaining the status quo, to maintain the peace towards prosperity, to let the changes suggested by other two stream to reach to everyone. All these three are equally important and therefore required to be nurtured from generation to generation. The problem occurs when one generation tries that the next generation just follow the rules and knowledge that has been passed on without applying a new thought process. Friends, here I am not in any way advocating that traditions or past knowledge are bad. After all, it was on Newton's 17th century work that Einstein could ultimately build upon in the 20th century, right? Moving on. Both abstract thinking and logical thinking are critical for the progress of mankind. And for that, the prerequisite is to question everything. Even if one is in prison, under the walls, uh, one thing that is his or hers, what defines an individual is our thoughts. I would urge you all, never underestimate your question. and your thought, no matter how silly others may think of it. One of the best way is to record your thoughts. If not for everyone, but for yourself. You are not required to put it out on social media. Record it in any form you may like. It may be old school diaries, uh, audio monologue, video, whatever you like. Believe me, when you will be old, you will have a treasure for yourself because that will also be an evolution graph of you. You will have something more than the memories to laugh and amuse at. And we never know in whose mind is that another great idea sprouting to take the mankind to next big leap. Well, that's pretty much what I had to say. I hope we all can bring objectivity to our thoughts. And once we know that our thoughts are our own, probably it will also make us respect thoughts of others, and the world will be more peaceful. Thank you.